Summer is here in Saskatchewan, and with that comes camping season. We have Robin Campese, he's the Executive Director of Visitor Experiences with Sask Parks. She's graciously taken some time out of that busy schedule with reservations and promotions. Come and tell us a little bit about what we can do to have that visitor experience in our parks. Robin, thanks for taking some time today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk a little bit about Sask Parks and what you're experiencing on your end and what can we look forward to in the 2021 camping season?
Yes, well, we just wrapped up our reservation launch. It was a very busy couple weeks. I think we saw 48,000 reservations. So, one of the things that we're looking forward to this summer is having all of our great campers visit our parks and take in all that we have to offer. There are still reservations available. I think what we would want campers to know is, they need to possibly be flexible with their dates. There's lots of weekday camping, spring, fall, and there's some great features on the site that people can sort of take advantage of to see what the availability is. And one of those is called Camping This Weekend. So that's a great little tip for people who want to see what's available for the coming weekend across the province. And there's also a little feature called Next Available Date. And so that's something that you may want to consider as a camper. If you've entered a date and that's not working out for you, you can sort of hit a little button that says next available date, and you'll see what's available for the coming week, month, depends what you're looking for.
And that season typically runs from what day to what day?
We open the Thursday before May long weekend, and we're open sort of regular season until the end of September.
And do we have a definition of a camper? I mean, many of us have done that, but is there any requirement that you must have a tent or a trailer or an RV or something like that to park, or are there different segregations for people to accommodate?
Yeah, we would expect you to have some sort of camping unit. So that could look like a tent, a truck camper, motorhome, all sorts of units sort of turn up in our parks. And there are sort of more affordable options for, let's say, tenters or someone that doesn't need electricity or maybe prefers an economy site. So that's also really a nice option for people.
And are all of the campgrounds kind of offering some facilities, I guess, in terms of washroom, showers, some stores or confectionaries that are open? We do happen to run out of supplies and so on. Are they readily available, or can you help us with places to go to acquire what we need?
Yes, most of our parks would have exactly what you're talking about, a convenience store, ice cream store. Some of them have mini golf, full-blown golf courses. The amenities sort of run the gamut depending on which park you're visiting and sort of the size and popularity of that. Obviously, bigger ones tend to establish more businesses and different types of businesses, but we're getting a really nice mix of offerings. The latest being water parks, which I think is just fantastic and super fun.
What are you experiencing with people that are taking advantage of our open space that we have here? Are there a lot of people requesting space from out of province, or primarily Saskatchewan residents that are wanting to see more of where we live?
I think it's primarily Saskatchewan residents. Our base has always been Saskatchewan residents. There are a few parks along the borders that attract, say, Albertans when you're talking about Meadow Lake or Cypress Hill, or Manitobans if you're talking about Duck Mountain. This year, obviously, there are protocols in place. And so the government of Saskatchewan has guidelines for people entering and leaving the province. While interprovincial travel at this time is still permitted, it's strongly not recommended. And so we would hope that our campers would follow those guidelines. The other thing that I guess out of province campers would need to consider is that could change at any point. And so that could affect their reservations if they are in fact booking in Saskatchewan.
So how does Sask Parks and yourself, how would you give us advice in terms of how we can stay safe in the campground when we do come there?
Yeah, we have lots of other things, just like you would see in other public spaces, floor stickers indoors reminding people to stay physically distant. We have signage throughout the park Indoor mask use is, of course, recommended. I do think we have the benefit of just if you're in your own campsite, you have the natural benefit of being safe and physically distant from people. And so I think that's why we're seeing such popularity is it's just inherently in these COVID times a safe place to be. And as long as you're taking personal responsibility to remove yourself from groups and follow public health guidelines and stay away from areas where there are, additional people gathering, I think people can feel really comfortable coming to the parks and having a great time this summer in a safe and responsible way.
I don't see any place that we can find any mosquito-free park campgrounds, but
If I
we're
offered
working
that, that would be my most popular park.
on it. Is there any possibility of someone wanting to stay for multiple weeks, I guess, if I was able to take my camper or set up my campground with a tent and still pay for that? Do I have to physically be there, or can I leave my tent and come in to work for 2 days and go back for 5 if I have a week like that?
Yeah, absolutely, you can. We had a situation in past years where there were maximum stay limits on site, and we got a lot of feedback from campers that that was really inconvenient. That they would have to maybe want to stay a longer duration, but they'd have to move around in the campsite in order to accommodate that. And so we did remove maximum stay limits. It's been a couple years now, and some people love that, and some people have concerns with it. But I think on the whole, it's very, very popular for us. So that's absolutely allowed. And the other option is yearly. And if you're right on top of it for our seasonal launch date, there is the opportunity to come purchase a site for an entire season and stay with us as well, which is extremely popular. I think our seasonal launch saw 6,500 people vying for 700 sites. So
Wow, that's a tremendous uptake, and I guess good for you for expanding that. Is that something new, or are there other new features that Sask Parks is offering residents here?
yeah, we have lots of new things. A seasonal program isn't new. We've had that for many years. Offering it online has been new in the last couple years, I would say, which is sort of replacing that older style lottery where you get your name pulled in the park type thing. So now it's first come, first serve, just like all of our offerings. But in terms of new in the parks this season, we have a couple new Campeses, which is our fully equipped campsite coming online. We have a new one at Duck Mountain. We have a new one at Douglas Park. So that will be the second one for Douglas. And we have a couple tents that are moving from one of our other parks to Cypress Hills, two tents actually. So that's really exciting. We have water parks coming at the Battlefords. We have some pet friendly amenities at Good Spirit we're offering, and these are actually advertised on the reservation site under events. And so this they're not open yet, and it will be, of course, subject to our situation improving and public health guidelines. But we are planning some hopefully COVID safe friendly events in the park this summer as well. And so, yeah, that's available on parks.saskatchewan.ca under events, special events, and tickets. And those will range from drive-in concerts to drive-in movies. And so there's some really neat stuff actually happening, provided that everything, our situation in the province is improving, and some of those our ability to gather and different things like that is okay by upper levels of government, of course.
Well, I'd like to think that, with the present pace of vaccinations and by the May long weekend, hopefully we're in a better, space. And of course, being outdoors, I can't think of a better thing to do than be outside in Saskatchewan in the summer. What are you experiencing with, I guess, I'm kind of curious to know how many parks that Sask Parks has under your purview. Do you have a number?
Yes, yeah, we actually run a number of parks. So we run historic parks in the province, what we would call our recreation parks, which are the parks that you and I are thinking of right now, sort of your traditional camping parks. There's about 22 of those in the province. And then we actually have a number of rec sites that we also operate. And those might not come immediately to mind, but like Wascana Trails, Regina Beach, Katepwa Beach, those are some of our rec sites in the province as well.
And are they segregated? So if all the RVs park here and all the tents over here, trailers over there, is that kind of a mix, or does it get distributed fairly evenly throughout the parks?
There is, definitely some parts where it's quite clearly, economy sites or tent sites, that sort of thing, and then also trailer sites. But what I would also offer is that like, if you're a tenter and you want your phone, let's say, to be plugged in at night, as long as you're willing to pay sort of that higher price for an electrical site, you can book in there as well, and we would honor that reservation.
I think it's the best of both worlds to have some conveniences and rough it a little bit for that true experience. Uh,
Yes.
how many, I guess, camp sites are there across the province, and are they kind of focused more in the north or spread out evenly, or how many would you say there are?
I wanna say around 7,000, but it's been a while since I've actually seen or interacted with that number, so, I'm gonna put a little asterisk beside that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I am confident in saying the bulk of those are really in central and southern Saskatchewan. Those are really where you see our really big parks. Cypress Hills had 5,000 over 5,000 reservations on launch day. Duck Mountain had over 25,000 or 2,500 reservations. Moose Mountain 22, 23. So those are some really big parks drawing in a really high amount of reservations and campers.
Well, I think we're set and ready to go. I think spring hasn't been canceled. It's starting to warm up, and I know that the talk out there is where can we meet you for a camping experience with neighbors and friends and family that want to get together. How would people get a hold of Sask Parks or make the arrangements to reserve a campsite with you?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think one really great way to stay in tune with all of our offerings, and like we talked about, there's potentially some exciting stuff coming this year. We won't know until much closer to the season, but I would always recommend you follow us either on Facebook or Instagram. They're very active channels with a lot of information and news and new offerings sort of popping up on there. So that's a great place. And then if you're looking to book a reservation, parks.saskatchewan.ca is a great spot to go. You can look at pictures of the site. You can see what's available in what parks around the province. And so that's a really great resource as well. We also have a call center. That number is also advertised on parks.saskatchewan.ca. So if you're maybe one that's not as comfortable with technology, the call center is also a good option.
Well, it just sounds too easy, and I think I'm looking forward to seeing what summer will bring. So, Robin, thanks so much for taking a break and educating us on what's available for us in Saskatchewan, and we'll see you again.
Thank you so much.
Stay with us, folks. We're coming right back.